There are many ways to work within AutoCAD. There are the ribbon and the command line, to name a few. The ribbon is rather straightforward. You click on the ribbon tab that you want, find the panel, and click on the command, and it draws whatever it is you want it to do. Now, the command line, though, can be a bit more involved. In fact, no matter what, if you use the ribbon, toolbars, menus, or whatever, you still have to use the keyboard for input. There's no way around it. Now, there are some tricks that you can use, though, to be more efficient with it. In other sections here, we've talked about entering commands on the command line, like line, arc, circle, whatever they are. And we also discussed command aliases for those commands, like L for line and A for arc. But what if you type in the wrong thing? It's okay, we all do it, it happens. Now, you can work in the command line as if it were a single line of text in a word processor. So if I start typing in line, oh wait, no, that's not what I want, I can backspace. Now, the command line and dynamic input work almost essentially the same way. You can turn off your dynamic input if you don't like that, if that gets in your way, by going to your status bar. If you don't see it down here, click on this customization button. It's on the far right. You'll find it up here at the top, dynamic input. Now, when I toggle this off or on, it puts it in the status bar. Remember, if it's blue, it means it's on. If it's gray, it's turned off. So now that I've turned off the dynamic input, if I type in the word line, it only shows up in the command line. Right here, it pops up that way. Whichever way you want to work, feel free to work that way. But if you're in the command line, remember, you can use it just like you can a regular word processor. You can use the home buttons, the end keys. You can use your arrow keys to navigate through it left and right. You can use the backspace key to erase them. You can also use the delete key to erase things to the right. Also remember that by pressing up and down with your arrow keys, that takes you through the list of your recently used commands. And when you execute a command, like the line command, there are usually some sort of instructions or requests given to you by AutoCAD. It needs more information from you. For a line command, the first prompt that it gives you is it asks you to specify your first point. And when you do that, you can see there's an undo option. I can click on here inside the command line to execute that option. Now, a great example of many options is the circle command. When you first start typing in letters, you can see here in the expanded list here, it gives you options for your different commands. Left click on it inside the command line, and you'll be able to select and start running that command. Now, the circle command, as I said earlier, is a good example of giving you different options and choices inside the command line. Now, by default, you'll start a circle at its center and then give AutoCAD the radius. Now, what if you want to enter in a diameter of the circle instead? Start the circle command, pick your first point, and then you'll see here I have options. I can enter in the radius, there's a default value right there, or I can click on the diameter option. And now I'm entering in the diameter of my circle. Let's look at it again. Start the circle command again, and you'll see here that I have other options. 3P for 3 points, 2P for 2 points, or TTR for tan radius. We'll get into the nitty-gritty aspects and details of the circle command in another video. But I can just pick any of these options in the command line for those options, or I can type them in. Now, which ones do you type in? They'll be the ones that are blue and all caps. So I can type in 3P, 2P, or just T. So if I type in 3P, press enter, I'm now drawing a circle based on 3 points. I pick my first point, my second point, and then my third point. And each time I'm doing that, the command line gives me a prompt. So my point here is keep an eye out for these command options and instructions. If you're not sure what to do next to create a specific type of object, the command line is telling you what you need to do. So keep that in mind. Keep your eye on the command line. To enter in any command, you just type. So I can type in REC for rectangle, and then I press enter, and I draw a rectangle. Now I can also start typing in REC and then press the space bar. Now the space bar is the same thing as the enter key on the command line. It's a nice option because the space bar is very large and it's a lot easier to hit than just the enter key. Hitting the enter key or the space bar after a command will also restart the last command you just did. So the last command I just did was rectangle. I hit the space bar and it starts it again. Or if I hit enter and I get to it again. So that's a nice little thing to keep in mind. It's very handy. Now, selecting objects can be difficult. Now, sometimes there are just too many to get it right, and you only need just the circles, but they're hard to get to. Now, in this case, they really aren't, but I'm just going to use it as an example. So let's use a filter. Let's start by opening up the Properties palette. Press Control and 1, and that will open it up. Now, it may dock for you right away, or it may be open up and be pulled off, look something more like this. That's fine. It'll all work the same way. If you grab the bar here on the tool palette by left-clicking and holding, you can move it around and then just dock it into place by dragging it to the side. That's what I'm going to do. So there's a filter option in the Properties palette. First, we're going to select all of our objects. Then we're going to come up to this little spot here on the top right called Quick Select. Select it, and this gives us a filter. Now, I can say entire drawing, or it's in our object selection, which is what we have now. And I'm going to say circle. Now, these are the only things I want, are the circle. Make sure to tell it to include my new selection set. I'm going to click OK. So now I only have my circles selected. Now I can delete them, move them, change their colors, whatever it is I want to do. Now, another little thing I want to give you a tip on is about canceling a command. You press the escape key. It's very easy to do, but be careful of the dreaded F1 button. It happens to all of us CAD users all the time. Hitting the F1 button will open up the Help menu. So if I press the F1 button, it opens up the AutoCAD Help menu. Now, it's happened to me, I don't know, millions of times. I've missed the escape key and hit the F1 key instead. That happens. Now, hitting it is a pain. A lot of people have just even pulled out the F1 button so they don't hit it by accident. So keep that in mind. But if you also need to get help, pressing the F1 key is a very quick and easy way to get to it. Now, when you're in a command, you may need to repeat recent input. When that's the case, you can just right-click for your shortcut menu, and the option to insert recent input is there just a click away. So let's start our rectangle command. I'm going to type in REC, press Enter. I'm going to pick a point here. If I right-click and hold, it will get me to recent input. It's an option. And a lot of these are just coordinates. So I can click one again, and it popped me right to that same coordinate. Now, that's really cool if you're trying to draw objects to the exact same spot, or you need a similar circle or length or diameter or something like that. So it's there. A lot of times you don't have to retype that same radius again or that same coordinate point. It's all right there. So it makes it very easy. So this is just a few tips and things to keep in mind when you're working with AutoCAD.